All right, dosers, what's going on? My name is Nate Tibbs, and I have the privilege of being the campus pastor at the Rancho Bernardo campus. And today's dose comes at you from Matthew 5, verse 5. It's a quick one, but check it out. It says this: Blessed are the meek. I love that word. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Those two words, blessed and meek, I want to unpack that. But first I want to let you know, growing up in a large family, there was always this environment of competition. Competition ruled the day. I mean, whether we were trying to be the first to finish our bowl of cereal, or we were trying to be the first to get our PJs on, or trying to be the first in anything that came up. And one day, our neighbor got one of those above ground trampolines, you know, those big ones that you can double bounce people on, and it had the safety net around the perimeter. I'll never forget, we double bounced my middle brother, and he went higher than we've ever seen anyone ever go. And by the time he came back to orbit, this brilliant thought just crossed my mind. I should take his legs out from underneath him and watch him crash. And he did that. I mean, I executed the perfect leg sweep that Mr. Miyagi would have been proud. It was that kind of thing. Unfortunately for my middle brother, he was the victim of a broken clavicle. And that day was the last day that I got to jump on that trampoline. Fast forward several years later, we had several ER visits and doctor appointments where we were always just, again, we were in competition. We were always just breaking each other. But what it created was this deep-seated brotherly bond that really kind of paved the foundation for the kind of relationship, healthy relationship that we have today. 1 month from now, it will be 15 years when I got that phone call. A phone call that you don't ever want to get. It was my dad on the other line, and he was in tears telling me that my brother, my youngest brother, was just in a serious motorcycle accident, and the ambulance was on their way to bring him to the ER. What do? That's my little brother. So as I rush to get clothes on and then drive down there and deal with traffic, by the time I got there, he was already 2 hours in the middle of surgery that was going to take several hours to put him back together. And I'm just racing through my mind, like, what's going on? Is he going to make it? The worst is coming up. And it wasn't as bad as I thought, but let me tell you what happened. He was coming through an intersection. It was about midnight. He just got off work, and he was over in the San Diego State University area, and he was going through an intersection. He had a green light, but the car that was waiting to turn on a red decided it was their turn to go, and their lights were off. So by the time that he turned into the intersection, my brother had a clear path, but not anymore, because that car was right in the middle, and he had a split decision to either brace for impact or bail. Thank God he bailed, because as soon as his motorcycle hit that car that ran the red light, it catapulted him over the car and about 240 feet away from impact, and he found himself in the gutter, all busted up. And as he looked over, he watched the car back up and take off. It was a hit and run. And he goes to get up, and there's no getting up from an accident like this. He was all busted up, broke both bones in both arms, compound fracture on one, and shattered both wrists. And then he needed to get plates and screws and pins, the whole deal. And when he came out of that surgery, he told me, "Nate, I heard God speak to me." I'm like, "What? What do you mean? What are you talking about?" He said, "Before I passed out from all the pain, I cried out to God. I didn't know what else to do. I was hopeless. I was in the gutter. I was broken. And God immediately spoke to him and said, 'I'm here with you. You are blessed to be alive. You are blessed.'" And that word blessed just seared in his heart and in his soul. And so what do you do? What do you do when the God of all creation speaks to you that profoundly? I'll tell you what he did. He got a tattoo. In fact, he said, "Family, we're all getting this tattoo. We're going to get the word blessed tattooed on our arm." And he wanted to get it right on his arm to signify where all those scars were. Scars don't define him. Jesus does. And it was incredible. We decided not to get the English word blessed tattooed on our body. It just felt a little too pretentious, like, "Yo, I'm blessed. How you living?" So I did a word study, and I found the word Makarios. And that word Makarios is found in different parts of Scripture. But I got a life verse now. It's Matthew 5. That word blessed throughout the Beatitudes, that's Makarios. So when it says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth," that has now become a life verse, because for us, we realized not only is God real, but he really does love us, and he'll never leave nor forsake. Remember that passage when Paul is talking about the thorn in the flesh? Christ's power is made perfect in our weakness. But church, make no mistake about it. Meekness is not weakness. Meekness is an act of obedience to a God who really is there, who really does care. Meekness is a submission to a God who's grace truly is sufficient for you and for me. So when life throws you curveballs and you feel like you're in the gutter, you get blindsided by a hit and run, lean into God, because his grace truly is sufficient for you and for me.